Guys, Jay here, and today I'm taking a look at Neca's Ghost Predator. I'm really excited to have this guy. He is based on one of the old Kenner Predators from back in the day, and I did have a lot of the Kenner Predators when I was a kid. I did not have Ghosts, so I'm pretty excited to have him in part of that, but also this is the first Predator I've had since they updated the body. And so I'm really excited to have him with a lot of the new articulation and posing options. So let's go and take a look at Ghost real quick. I really like the paint job. This white is really unique. I mean, as a whole, with most of his armor and whatnot, is very similar to the Jungle Hunter Predator, but he's very unique. The Predator netting, as you can see, is sculpted. It's not painted. That's pretty run-of-the-mill for any of the Kenner tributes. It would probably cost a ton of money for them to sculpt all new bits, for all of the tributes and whatnot. But the paint job's really good. You can see his eyes up in there. Mouth's painted really well. Just the kind of sandy off-white and the blacks and the little beiges, stripes and everything. Continues all the way through, and it's just super cool. Black wrist blades, which I think are awesome. Everything's really clean, looks good. So, yeah, I'm really, all of the armor, and you'll see it a lot on some of the other pieces too. I've got like this kind of hammered silver with like some brown dry brushing. It's kind of harder to see on some of these bit pieces. Got some copperish in there. Loincloth. So let's go and take a look at this guy's articulation. His neck joint has been really tight. I've been working with it for a little bit now. Like, it's really tight turning left. Right's a little bit easier. I can get him to look up about that much. Looks down about yay far. The left shoulder, I can get up about like this, and ironically, even with this armor piece, I can actually get the right shoulder up a little bit more. And this is all nice and soft, so it moves out of the way really easily. One of the new parts of articulation is the bicep swivel, and a lot of people already know this, but again, this is the first one with the new body that I've gotten. Again, new one. We now have double jointed elbows, not just single, which is awesome. Wrists are on a ball peg, which one thing that I'm going to have to try and remedy, that ball peg sticks out way too far as compared to any of the other ones, or even this one. You can see it's nice and tight up in there, and that you can see it sticks out a bit. So I don't anticipate that to be on everyone, but it's worth noting. There is a swivel here at the gauntlet, also new, which is awesome. And of course, these blades we've seen a number of times, and they pull out. And then over here, again, you got to be kind of careful of the tubes on this one, but all the same articulation is on the left. And then the wrist computer opens, which is really cool. Not much detail in there. I mean, there's a lot of sculpted detail, not much paint detail. Don't think it really needs it too much. So, and it sits nice and flush. There is an upper torso, or a diaphragm joint. You can swivel side to side, pivots a little bit. Not much, a little bit forward, a little bit backwards, but we never had one before, so I'm happy with it. Waist swivel, and that rocks ever so slightly, and forward and back, so you can kind of use that and paired with that to really bring it forward, or back and then forward a little bit more. Although that almost still seems like a very neutral standing pose. Forward a little bit. The legs, you can damn near do the splits. About halfway it's doing the splits. Side kick, really cool. Again, these armory bits are, I mean, that's nice and soft. They don't get in the way too much. They really move out of the way really easily, and I mean, they don't feel brittle. They're just nice and pliable. He cannot kick forward very far. You can get that leg forward a little bit more, but yeah, it really kind of starts to bunch up. Double jointed knees, hidden nicely by the knee pad there. That's really cool. And then the ankles, of course, are on ball joints, so they can pivot side to side, down and up. A fair bit, actually. I think I get more out of this guy than I have some of the other ones, so maybe they moved kind of like where the ball peg was, the ball joint on that. Because, yeah, some of the other ones I have, I cannot get to move that far. So there's that. Oh, dude, you stand. And usually his joints are pretty tight. I've gotten him to stand really, really well on a lot of different poses. So let's go over his accessories real quick. He does have his biomask, which is awesome. Again, it's that hammered kind of silver look. Nice brown dry brushing, silver eyes. There's a bit of a miss right there on the left eye, not a huge deal. And then it's all nice and textured on the inside. It does fit on his face really well. Just kind of line up the mandibles. Snaps right into place. Looks awesome. One thing I also think I'm going to fix is this huge gap right here. I don't know if that's how they're molded. I don't know if they just happen to come out that way. But I think I can heat it up, put it on his face, and then kind of actually push this down some, cool it off, and then I think I can fit it on there a lot better without that huge gap. So there's accessory 1, and actually I'm going to pull this off because it'll be easier to get the next one on. And that is the plasma caster with, the med pack and this whole backpack thing, which is also articulated. Had the little joint in there pop off on me. In fact, it just did it again. I might have to fix that, but again, not a big deal. It's a very, very soft plastic, very, very thin piece of soft plastic at that. But most of you have probably seen this a million times. See if I can do this on camera. Bumping my camera. Oh, it's giving me trouble. That plugs in there, and then it plugs in on top. And I actually think this has been one of the more secure fits with one of these I've gotten. In fact, moving around, he hasn't really bumped it off too much. So, and now we'll go and put the biomask back on. Complete the look-ish. We're getting there. Dude, stand. I literally have not had any trouble getting this dude to stand until now. Go figure, right? Next, we do have his smart disc. Or a smart disc. I know they make a lot of these. Again, kind of standard silver color. A little bit of brown dry brushing. And I love the fact that, well, I just dropped it. But it does holster right here on his hip. That is super cool. Next, we do have this type of sword machete looking thing. Again, in that silver. The handle looks really, really cool. Bit of brown dry brushing. J Speak good. And really, really like this. It's cool. I'm a fan of swords. Fits in his left hand really well. In fact, it's quite a tight grip. And what I've been doing is on the thinner part, which is like, the front part of the grip is really kind of bulbous. The back part's a little bit more narrow. Just kind of squeeze it in between his fingers and then kind of rotate it into place. And he gets a super tight grip on that. One other thing that I noticed, and I did this as soon as I pulled him out of the packaging. I'm going to take this back out real quick. And I don't know if it's meant to do this. It's not very secure, but I know that on the City Hunter Predator and some of the other Predators, they also have this, but I don't remember, at least on the City Hunter Predator, I was just looking at images, it does not have this. So at the very least, I really need to get him to stand. Bear with me for just a moment. I literally have not had any, I've been posing this guy for like 2 hours. And that is that, again, this just kind of rests in there. You can kind of push it in a little bit. But if you're posing one yourself, that's a really cool place to rest his sword. It looks actually kind of natural. I mean, he would, if he's using his left hand for the sword, he would definitely be able to reach over and grab it properly there. So that is awesome. Now, the last accessory he comes with is, dude, stand. An extended combi stick. It is quite warped, which is actually the first combi stick I've gotten from Neca. And my understanding is that is, again, not at all uncommon. Now, unfortunately, and this doesn't come apart or anything, his gripping hand is far too small for this. I haven't even tried to put it in there. I mean, you can just line it up and see how much smaller his hand is. And this hand is not very flexible at all. Doesn't have a ton of give to it. So can't get in there. What I have been able to do, okay, let me take a moment and really get him posed in a way that he's going to stay standing. This is kind of a bit harder to do on camera, forgive me. I've been kind of able to wedge wedge it up in there, and then he can hold on it. And actually he holds onto it fairly well, but it doesn't take much to knock it off either. So, but I'm still going to straighten this, and you know, he can use it. Some of my other predators are capable of using it. So there's that. One other thing I wanted to point out, and again, this is probably just on mine, but also on the left arm, similar to the joint, it doesn't appear as though, similar to the wrist joint, pardon me. Oh, great time for hiccups. It doesn't look like that elbow joint got popped on all the way. I could be wrong, but I'm going to heat it up and see if I can get it on for there further. So a couple of things that I'm going to touch up myself, but it's NECA. I mean, it's a $21 figure. That's what I paid for him, and I can't argue with that. I mean, he's amazing. I really, really like the details. I like the classic Predator look. These things like to stick out a lot. I don't know if I already mentioned that. Once upon a time, this would have been actual string. It's all plastic, and when I actually got them, they were all sticking out like that. And over time, I've kind of gotten it, well, over time, by like the last 3 hours, I've kind of gotten it to lay a little bit flatter and more natural. But it might be something that I'll have to apply some heat to, and then kind of, you know, just to get it so that it's pointing down. But it's a really cool necklace, like thing of bones, and then you got like a spine back here. So, but I really, really like it. I'm happy to add him to the shelf. I'm really happy with the new articulation. Hoping at some point I'll actually have time I can do some stop motions with this guy. That'd be a super amount of fun. So that's it for this one, guys. Thank you for checking it out. Everybody take care, and I'll see you later.